Thank you, Lynn. Are there announcements to be made?
I think we have a monthly meeting this week, don't we? And then we also have women's group on Wednesday morning and monthly meeting Wednesday evening.
Okay. How about joys and concerns to share?
We need to keep remembering Norma. She is not bouncing back from her illness quickly. And was here last week, as you saw. But when I contacted her this morning to ask her about something else, she said that she had possibly eaten something yesterday that didn't agree with her, and so she was not going to be here this morning because she was still not feeling well. So this illness has really knocked her for a loop, I think. So we need to continue keeping her in our prayers. Go ahead.
Ask you to remember Alberta Shaw, our daughter-in-law Cindy's mom, who has been ill for quite a while. This past week, she did have successful surgery to repair a twisted bowel. So we're thinking that this will make her feel much better and more like eating and drinking, which should help her a lot. She's 82.
Well, Miss T took a fall this week,
Oh,
and
no.
she went right into the driveway face first, and took a little bit of skin off up here, and chipped a tooth, and so she needs your prayers. And then our daughter, her biological dad, very suddenly passed away last week, a massive heart attack. So she needs prayers as well.
Move your foot up a little. This one. Put it up.
Well, let's hold these things in God's light and love as we go into worship, more worship. And I'm the worship leader this morning, and I will speak out of the silence as I feel led. Well, I guess if I was going to title my thoughts for this morning, it'd be I just had a brilliant title, and being an elderly person, thank you, Chip. It almost vanished, but what's love got to do with it? We all know that song. And I would put 3 dots and say everything. Yesterday, of course, was Valentine's Day. And Donna and I celebrated our first Valentines together. We belong to the local symphony as subscribers, the Central Ohio Symphony. And yesterday's concert was an intimate setting. I think there were probably 50 people there with a string quartet, wine, chocolate, and the title Romantic Strings. They played everything from opera to Paul McCartney in this nice, close gathering. And the cellist, Edgar, read poetry in between some of the songs, which you all know I love poetry. And it was delightful in some ways because he read a poem by a person I know and whose writer wife I'm friends with. So the small world connection. And then we headed off to dinner at a nice restaurant and shared a meal like we often do, and retired home and watched a movie. All in all, it was just a quite lovely afternoon and evening. And I even told her a couple times that I loved her, which is something I don't always do since I try to work hard on being a curmudgeon. I've tried to cultivate that image my whole life. Now that I'm old, I feel like I can manifest it better because people expect it now that I'm elderly, Chip. But despite that, I have to admit, I do have kind of a romantic streak. And I have, I think, since high school. I love to read poetry, listen and play love songs. And as a young adult, I didn't even mind getting my heart broken. At least I'd been with somebody, and it hurt, but as one of my favorite groups sang, sadness is the sweetest of the pains. Well, I kind of got into that. And at this advanced age, I still indulge in all those things. I mostly listen to love songs, but at Donna's urging, today from Amazon arrived a tuner for my guitar, and I promised to get it out and tune it and start playing again. When I moved, I had to winnow down my huge book collection. One section that didn't get touched was my poetry collection. And you'll be surprised to hear, I'm sure, but the other was my humor collection. And on Donna's and my wedding day, one of my best friends gifted us with a little book, Poems for Love, to add to my collection. And it's all classic poetry. I know and recognize better now that my life has been surrounded by all kinds of love. C.S. Lewis once wrote a book on 4 of them, all based on the Greek words. The first, storge, which is an affectionate love. It's a parental kind of love, family love. Philia, that friendship love, the true love of friends that know you and all your faults and still love you. Then there's eros, which we Quakers don't talk much about in public. But romantic love, and finally, agape, divine love. Now, Lewis's book posits that if we don't have agape love, we turn the others into kind of idols and try and find them all the time instead of finding God. But as I looked at each of those kind of loves, I realized I've been blessed with experiencing each of them. From the moment of my birth to this present day. Now, too often, I have to admit, I've taken that for granted. There have been too many times that I've even failed to recognize it. Whether it be from my family, my friends, or God. I too often, as the self-absorbed person I am, go on my merry way and don't stop and smell the roses of love. And that's why I'm grateful for such reminders of love as Valentine's Day. I realize that I probably don't say, I love you enough. To Donna, to my family, my friends, and you all. Now, this community that we have is special in many ways, not least the connections across distance, across various life experiences that we've had, the sharing that each of us take turns doing. But to me, it's truly special. And it has been from the first time I attended West Newton in the way we love each other. Now, I shouldn't say the first time, but the first time that Nancy and I were looking for a meeting in the Plainfield area and went to West Newton. I'd visited West Newton before, but when we went there on the way home, we said, this is the place we need to be. This is where we want to be. But the love we still have crossed the distance when none of us, many of us, have not met face to face. What a gift of love that is. And thinking of love, of course, one of my favorite scriptures is 1 Corinthians 13. It's one we're all familiar with, but this is a new version, and it's by a fellow named Alan Dale, The New Word, the Heart of the New Testament in plain English. And Donna and I had this read at our wedding. This is what love is like. Love is never in a hurry and is always kindness itself. It doesn't envy anybody at all. It never boasts about itself. It's never snobbish or rude or selfish. It doesn't keep on talking about the wrong things other people do. Instead, remembering the good things is happiness enough. It's tough. It can face anything, and it never loses trust in God or in men and women. It never loses hope, and it never gives in. Love holds good everywhere, for everybody, forever. All things come and go, but there are some things that do not come and go. These three, trust, hope, love, last forever, but love crowns them all. See that you put love first. when I read those words, I aspire to that kind of living and love. But I have to admit, I too often fail. I too often remember the wrong things people do. I'm too often rude or selfish. But the aspiration's there, and those words call me to it. I need to hold to that ideal in all that I do and say. Now, it's said that only the good die young, and I figure I'll live forever because God needs to work on me more. And I think slowly I'm learning to live that description in 1 Corinthians 13. And I mentioned that this group and our gift of love, and what a gift of love this group is. But I'm also reminded again of another song by a fella that I've corresponded with at times, Mason Williams, who one of his things, a gift of song, and he talks about it. It's a gift to be shared. We're to share the gift of love. It's not to be stored away. I think our meeting does that, not just with each other, but with the world. We try to reach out in loving ways and support worthy causes, not because we're good people, but because we're commanded to love each other. As I think about West Newton, I'm reminded of the words of one of my favorite writers, the late Catholic priest Andrew Greeley. He was an amazing writer. And one of my favorite books of his was called White Smoke. It's about the election of a new pope, and all the cardinals are together doing that, and everybody's outside waiting for the white smoke to come up to say that a new pope has been elected. And one of the people is Latin American priest Luis Emilio Cardinal Menendez y Garcia, who is considered a long shot. This was written in the 90s. But he says these words, and I've loved them ever since I read them. We are a church of love. Our message from the Lord himself, even today, is the message that God is love and that we are those who are trying, however badly, to reflect that love in the world. Important for us today is the affirmation that we exist to preach a God of love, to be a people of love, and we want our church, insofar as we poor humans can make it, a church of radiant love. A church of radiant love. May we always endeavor to do that as our part of the beloved community, to each other and to the world. Thank you, Lynn. We'll now move into unprogrammed worship for those who can stay. And we'll say goodbye to those who have other obligations. It's good to see you all. Godspeed this week. And hope to see you next week.
Thank you, Brent.
Thank you, Brent and Nancy. Lynn.
I was reflecting on love and what it might have been, what it would look like if it was a commodity. So I looked up how much money was spent on Valentine's Day. $29.1 billion. I wonder if love was a real commodity, how much money would be spent on all the other days.
If friends' hearts are clear, we can close meeting for worship.
Thank you, Brent.
Sure.
All of you have a wonderful week. Enjoy. Spring is approaching, I assure you. Enjoy it.
Give our greetings to Twinette.
We will. I will. And it was quite a little tumble she took. Falls happen so quickly. And
And there's no ice there.
no, but there's a rock garden that she tried to cut across.
Oh,
We're not as young as we used to be.
Yeah, yeah.
Pesky rocks.
Take care.
Take care.